Please welcome to the stage your host, James Veitch.
Hi guys, thanks for coming. I'm James Veitch. I'm going to be your host for this evening. It's a pretty special evening. We've got a pretty groundbreaking piece of technology to announce, which we think is going to blow your socks off. But before we do that, we've just got a little video that we put together, just running through kind of 10 years of what Wix has been doing. So please roll the tape. Thank you. Love how I wander into the claps. I did none of that. This was pretty much pretty cool stuff, eh? I mean, I did none of that. The man actually responsible, I'm actually going to welcome to the stage now, pretty much responsible for everything you saw there. Please give a warm welcome to the co-founder and CEO of Wix, Avishai Abrahami. So look, Avishai, I want to mention to you, it's been like 10 years since Wix first kind of entered the market. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I want you to cast your, before we kind of focus on the new product that you were about to reveal, I want to just you to cast your mind back there and tell me kind of what it was like when you first began and what your vision was.
So it was 2006, and me and my co-founder working on a different project, and we needed a website. And very quickly realized that it's a big hassle, right? We had to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You have to have a server. You have to install things on that server, have a database, and then maintain all of that. And that was pretty much before we started designing a website. And we kind of figured out, well, it's 2006. It's 10 years after the internet became popular. There has to be a better way. And we built Wix to be this better way, something that will work for us, allowing us to build websites that are stunning, that we can easily change the design, that will work great. And this is how Wix came to be.
So, but I mean, that's just about getting a website up and running. Like, you saw a hassle, you saw barriers, you took them away, people were able to put websites up there. But what I saw there was I mean, there's a lot of words that I don't understand genuinely, but it seems to me that you know, there were invoices, there were bookings and stuff. Like, what was your approach, like, going down the line? What were you...
So very quickly, when we launched the product, we started to have users and then customers. And they came back to us and said, we know all of those websites are really good, but we need more. And for example, a yoga teacher would say, well, we need, you know, now I have a way to present what I'm doing, but I want also to be able to have people book a class, right? And then pay for that class. And then I want a way for myself to be able to contact them, my users, and tell them, well, the class is canceled today, or there's a new class tomorrow, or there is a sale. And we kind of worked and built this OS to enable us to build all of those applications on top of it, right? And this pretty much enables us to allow our users to manage their business on top of Wix. This is what we're doing today.
Okay, so you know, you began off where you saw a problem. There were a lot of hassles involved with getting a website up, and then you saw there were a lot of hassles with kind of, you know, getting interactions with that website and people actually running their business on it. Obviously, we're about to reveal something new, so there must have been another thing that I think things start to happen when things become a hassle for you. So what is it that you haven't been able to do up until today?
So today we are very good at solving things that are very common between different businesses. For example, if you have an hotel, right? Most hotels are run pretty much in the same way. So we can build you this application that will enable you to run your hotel efficiently. But there are other cases, right? If you are a college and you have a college application process, right? Then every college is doing that differently. And another example is a Turkish mortgage calculator, right? Now it might sound small, right? But we have customers in Turkey that really needed that. And we kind of realized that there's no way we can solve all those tailor-made or unique needs. And we had to find a way to do that.
So Turkish mortgage calculator, you know, college college application form, those are examples of web applications, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you say web application, I mean, how difficult is it at the moment to build a web application?
Well, it's very, very hard, right? It's a big hustle. Well, you kind of have to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Right. You need to know how to code differently on a server. You need to know how to install and maintain a server. You need to have databases, know how to work with them. Then you need to worry about, right, all of the protection around it. You need a firewall, you need a DDoS protection, you need actually probably a CDN. So you need to back up and do all the security maintenance. So it's really a big hustle. And all of this before you start to write a line of code to make your application unique.
So it sounds like we have a problem. So what did you do about it?
Well, let me show you.
Oh, let's watch a video. I think you know the video guys have done their job well if they managed to make a weather API feel cool. Do you know what I mean? They did. So, okay, Wix Code, creation without limits. That's a pretty bold kind of statement, isn't it? What do you mean by that?
Well, Wix Code is a fundamentally new way of writing web applications. We pretty much take all the barriers away, all the hassles, and really allow you to focus on what makes your application unique. So you just need to know how to write a few lines of code, and you can build those sophisticated things that we spoke about before. A college application process, for example.
But I can build anything then, but because it's just giving you the kind of tools, isn't it? You can build anything?
Yes, it is. It's a full-blown application development environment, right? You can build a website and add application on top of it. You can build internal application for organization which don't have a website. You can only build full startups on top of it. You can build a search engine for flights. You can build a portal. You can do so many things with it.
So there's something, part of it seems to me to be kind of empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs to be able to create their dream app before taking it, for instance, to investors. Like this would completely change the way in which you're able to make an app, show it to investors, and have a working demo, aren't you? I mean, it's not going to take months or years of your time and a massive team of people. You can do it yourself, right?
Well, yes. I mean, something that would normally take 6 months or a year for a long team can be done, actually, in a couple of days. It's really that easy. And then, when you want to change it, right? It's super fast. You just change something and test it. Instead of having coders and developers and HTML guys working on it, you just go and drag and drop and change a bit of line of code, and it's just there magically.
So it strikes me. So it's very easy for the coder, but it must have been, I suppose, a massive undertaking for you to make this happen. So how did you spill the beans? How did you do it?
Well, if you look behind you, right, you can see it. It's rather simple.
Oh, it looks very simple.
Well, maybe focus on one part at a time.
That will
right?
help.
So the first part that we did is that we took the Wix editor, and you have all the stunning graphics and the easy user interface. All of that you can use. And on top of that, we've added a way for you to program code, right? And you can write browser code or server code in the same environment, right? You don't have to care about it. To enable that to work, we also created the server grid, which takes your code and run it on the server. Right? Again, you don't have to know anything about servers to use it. You just write your code in the browser, it's all automatic. We added a database, which is very simple to use, so we worked a lot on it, and you pretty much don't have to know anything about databases. You just add columns and things, and it will just magically happen. More than that, we actually went and added a bunch of services. The first one is what we call the SEO grid. When you build applications on the web today, it's very hard to make them visible to search engines. This will do it automatically for you. You don't have to worry about it. Another thing is that we added a content management system, so you can go into the database and change anything and edit, even if you didn't build screens for that. Another part is what we call the media management system, the media platform. When somebody uploads an image, right, or a video, when you want to display that on different devices, you have to scale it to different devices. The video has to be transcoded differently. This is very, very hard to do and requires a lot of work. Again, with Wix Code, all of that happens automatically. You don't have to know that the magic has just happened.
Good, because I don't know a lot about it, so that's good to know. I mean, I think that one of the things that when you were talking to me about this, I feel like it's kind of like when I'm at home, I play a little bit of music, right? And I'm trying to play a melody, and then what I want to do is record that melody. So what I do is I actually have to. By the time I've plugged in my amp, I've plugged in my mixer pedal, I've plugged in my looper, I've got my MacBook kind of synced up with my guitar and my piano. By the time I've done that, I can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered. So it seems to me that all this is kind of like a music studio, if you will, and all you have to do is come in and just focus on the thing that's important, which is the melody or the code.
Well, it's the same kind of finger movements, right?
Right, just a bigger keyboard, right? Exactly. Yeah. And so this has got CDN, firewall, DDoS.
Yeah, it actually has everything else that you need to make sure it's running. You have a CDN, you have a firewall, you have a DDoS protection, you have automatic security patches, monitoring, backup. So it's really, you don't have to know about it, right? We monitor the system for you. We'll fix everything if it breaks.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I quite like to see this in action. So I think we've got a little demo tape. Can we roll that, please?
This is a website we created for an art and design school. It has data-driven pages for all of our courses and programs. Now we want to let students apply. We'll do it by building a database collection, a custom application form, and an advanced admin area to manage applications. First, we need a database collection to store the application data we collect. we'll add a field for each piece of data, like student name, email address, and more. You can add as many fields as you need. We'll also choose whether the data we want to collect is text, an image, or a date and time. We're going to add about 20 fields. This application form was built in the Wix editor using different types of input fields, like text, radio buttons, drop-down menus, and file upload options to create a robust form. Now that we have a database collection and an advanced form, we can connect them with a dataset. We'll drag and drop one onto the page and click Manage Dataset. Data binding allows us to send the data we collect on the form straight to the database collection. We'll also set the input type for each element and connect it to the right field in our database collection. We'll do this for all of the input boxes in the form. Last, we'll connect the Submit button to the database. Now we'll test the form. We'll fill it in and click Submit. The information students submit for their application will be stored directly in this database collection. To manage all the applications, we'll create an advanced admin system. First, we'll need this database to set each step of our workflow, such as the faculty member responsible for it and the next step that needs to be taken. In this example, Jenna is assigned to the first screening. Any applicant she approves moves to Caitlin, who manages the CV approval stage. In this admin area, created using the Wix editor, we collect the applicant's data and let faculty members review each application and take action based on the workflow defined in the table. Let's preview the admin system on our live site. Now, let's filter all of the pending applicants. At the top, you can see our newest applicant. We'll double-click his name to view his application. Let's assign Jenna to her task, first screening. Once Jenna completes her task, the applicant will move on to the CV approval stage, which will be assigned to Caitlin. After the applicant successfully completes all stages of the application process, his status changes from pending to approved. Additionally, the admin system lets us filter to view other candidates, their status, and which faculty members have been assigned to take action.
I noticed that Daniel Thomas Edgar, who's been approved, he lives in NW7. I know he's probably fictional, but I live in NW5, so he's literally under half a mile from my house. So if I see him, I will wish him well in his application to Bolden Academy. What did we see there, Avishai? Walk me through that. What was happening?
So basically what we've seen is that, first of all, they built a website, right? And the website was built with Wix. And then they moved to start building applications. So they added the database and pretty much connected it, right? This, again, was done with the user interface of Wix. So it's really easy to do, right? The last part of it is that we needed to build the custom logic, right, of the process itself. And this is actually 39 lines of code. Just it, 39 lines of code, and you built it. The most amazing thing about it is that if you wanted to do something like that in any other way, it would take hundreds of hours, right? And today, with Wix Code, you can do it in about an hour.
With 39 lines of code, that whole thing we saw there.
Yeah. So it's very, very simple. And you can get really a custom, tailor-made application that you built without even noticing how much technology is behind it.
Right. That's cool. I mean, so you can basically focus on the fun part, the code, right?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, Avishai, we've had you on stage for quite a lot of time. I know you're the CEO of the company, but I am going to boot you off right now because I think it's time for an actual demo. Is that cool? Yeah. Cool with you? Okay, well, thank you to Avishai, and we'll see him in a minute. So yeah, I think it's probably time we actually saw an actual product demo. So if you don't mind, please welcome to the stage the Wix Code product manager, Yuval Blumenfeld. Yuval, over to you.
Thank you, James. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this site and we're going to extend it in 4 different ways. We'll kick things off with a short video where we'll show you how to create endless data-driven pages without writing a single line of code using our new dynamic pages functionality. Then we'll move to a live JavaScript demo, and I'll show you how to do some custom interactions which really change the behavior of your site using JavaScript and the Wix Code APIs. Then I'll show you how to use JavaScript to go out to external APIs that are available to me out there on the internet to further extend what my site can do. And finally, we're going to reverse it and expose an API from our application for others to integrate with us. So let's get things started with the video.
During the semester, students submitted their artwork. Their artwork images are all stored in this database collection, along with information about each student. This page was created in the Wix editor to showcase student artwork. By connecting each element on the page to a field in our database collection, we can use one-page design for hundreds of unique pages with student art. We'll connect the image, artwork title, course, and description to the relevant field in the database collection. Now let's see what it looks like on the published site. As you can see, every page has the same structure, but features unique content for each piece of artwork.
So that shows you how you can really easily create an endless number of data-driven pages without writing a single line of code. But let's jump into some JavaScript. And I want to change this site in two ways. I want to count. So this is the page that exhibits the students' artwork at the end of each semester, and we want to make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more interactive. And I'm going to add two things to it. I'll add an indicator of how many times each one has been viewed, and then we'll create an interaction where we can vote on each one of these. So to get things started, I'm going to go to the collection that's driving these pages, and just click this plus icon here, and you'll see that it's easy for me to add two new fields. I'm going to add the vote count field, and that's a number. And I'm going to add a view count field. And of course, that's also a number. So now that I have that place to store my information, let me show you how I hook it up to my page. And what I have here is I've prepared just two regular Wix text elements using the editor. And to hook those up, these are just regular Wix elements, but we're now enriching them with our new connect functionality. So to hook them up, I can click that connect button and indicate that this one should be coming from the view count, and this one should be coming from the vote count. So I can very easily represent the data that's driving my application on my pages. So let me show you how I did that interaction. I placed an image here with a white heart in it, and I want this to act like a button. I want to make that click perform that vote. So in making web development more easier, what we've done is we've enriched all of the Wix elements that you can add in the editor with a JavaScript API. And that means that I can both manipulate them and I can react to things that are happening within my code. So to show you that, we'll use this properties panel here. And one of the things this properties panel does is show me all of the events that this element exposes and helps me wire up custom behavior to them. So in this case, I'm going to choose the onClick, right? I want to do something when that heart is clicked. And that brings up our JavaScript editor down here. So we now have a JavaScript development environment embedded within the Wix editor. And if I zoom in there for a second, let's write some JavaScript. I'm going to use our $W selector, which is simply a way to find elements on the page. I'll use it to find that heart. And I get code completion along the way, which helps me understand what I can do with this element. So for example, this is an image, so of course I can change its source. But in this case, what I want to do is hide it, because actually behind that white heart, I've placed a red one. So that'll create a nice effect of, it's clicked and then it turns red. And you'll notice I also added, here like a thank you box, which will thank the user for voting. And I'm going to select that using that same $W selector. And that's called the thanks box. And we'll show it with a nice little slide-in animation. So as I preview this, you'll see that the interaction part of that is now working. So when I click that heart, it hides, shows the red one, and that thank you box slides in. And so now that the interaction is ready, let's complete that with the data part of it. So much like we've exposed an API for our elements, we're also exposing an API for the data sets. And that means that it's easy for me to use the same JavaScript editor to manipulate my data. So for example, when the page loads and that data is ready, I want to increment the view count. And as the user clicks on that heart, I want to do very much the same for that vote count. So let's preview the site again. And we'll vote on that. And you'll see that that's incremented by 1 now. And of course, that's also saved back to the database. So that shows you some custom interaction that I've created myself within the code editor. But let me show you how I can further extend what my site can do by calling APIs that are available out there on the internet. And there are thousands and thousands of APIs publicly available to me. So in our case, I thought it would be nice if, as users are voting on these artworks, I thought it would be nice if the artist behind each one receives an email notifying them that someone has voted for their artwork. And of course, I didn't want to write a whole email server myself. And it was easy for me to go out there and find someone who has provided an API for an email server. So let's collapse this so it's a little bit easier to see. And I've placed some code here in my backend folder. And you'll notice that this is simply a function called sendVoteNotification. And by placing it there within the backend folder, what I'm indicating to the Wix Code system is that I want this to run on a server somewhere. And in this case, I chose to do that simply because I had a secret API key that I didn't want exposed in the browser. But simply by putting it there, I'm now indicating that I want it to run on a server somewhere without having to understand where that server is, how it's brought up, maintained, managed, and all of that stuff, because I shouldn't have to know. And let me show you how I can call that. So, rather than have to understand all of the network calls and how to call a browser, how to use a browser to call a server, and how to know which server is running this, I'm simply going to import that into my page. So I'm going to go back to the page here. And up at the top, I'm just going to import that function, the sendVoteNotification. And by doing that, I'm indicating that this page should be able to access that code that's running on the back end. Let me complete that with the click. And you'll see that what I'm doing here is composing that message and then simply calling that sendVoteNotification as if it were a function on my page. And that's being brokered for me and being run on a Wix server somewhere in our cloud. And this part was the personal magic that really excited me about the system, because I'm a product manager and I haven't written code actively for over a decade. And frankly, I'd never made the jump to web development because all of this stuff was too daunting for me. Learning that whole stack that Avishai was talking about, the JavaScript and the HTML and the CSS. And now I can simply lay things out on the editor. I can write JavaScript behind it, and I can run code on a server without having to understand how that's all orchestrated. So let's preview the site. And this time, as I vote on that, I'll jump over to the inbox of that artist, and you'll notice that that email is coming in. So that shows me how I can really easily leverage all the work that's been done over the internet with APIs that are available to me. Let's flip things around, and I'll show you how to expose an API to my web application. And we thought what would be nice to demonstrate that would be to build an attendance system into our school. So we want to allow our students to check into class as they arrive. And to do that, I'm going to start off with another file on my back end. So I'm going to create a new web module here and call it log attendance. And let's kill out this boilerplate code and paste in what I've written in advance. And this is a little bit longer, but it's not rocket science. Let me show you what it does. It basically listens for that HTTP request coming into my application, gets the student's name from the parameters there, queries the database to find the record that represents their attendance, and updating the value in there. And this time I'm going to publish my site. And when that publish completes, I now have an API on the internet. And to show you how I could use that, we've prepared, sorry, I should have opened that. Let's go to the live site. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom where I've hidden a link to the attendance system. Don't tell anyone. And as that's loading, I'll tell you that some of my students thought it would be nice to automate this process. You know, as I said, that's a simple HTTP request, but they're a little bit lazy. And they decided that they would use a service called If This Then That to orchestrate it. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this company, what they're doing is they're allowing these kind of mashups between services on the internet. So all of these services that expose APIs, they allow you to easily define these kinds of mashups. And they're orchestrating somewhere on the order of 1 billion of these each month. And so my students thought it would be fun if, as they connect to the school's Wi-Fi, that HTTP request would be sent automatically and would check them into the class. So we'll go back to the course here. This is visual editing. Now, I've always wanted to learn design, and so I snuck myself into this class. And I'll just pull out my phone for a second, and I'll click a link, a simple link, that is going to go out to that to my application and run that service that we created. And if I can ask some of my colleagues in the audience to simulate these students, you'll see that those are coming in. So within the course of a few minutes, what we've done is we've taken this school site, we've made it more interactive, we've added some custom behavior and tailor-made logic to suit our needs. We've gone out to the internet and run APIs that are made available by others to further extend what I can do. And finally, we expose an API to my site so that others can integrate with me. That's it for me. Thanks.
She never comes to class. Never. Never. Liz Cumberbatch. Mind you, would you if you were married to Benedict? You know, you probably wouldn't leave the house, would you? So, Yuval, thanks so much for that. That was great. Now, I must admit, when they said to me, James, we would really like you to come help present this new product, I said, I have integrity, guys. And they said, do you? And I said, no, a little bit. And they said, we would like, I said, look, I want you to tell me how good it is. And they said, James, it's so good. It's so good. You could make like anything you want. You could make a flight search engine, like a fully functional, fully featured flight search engine, you know, in a very small amount of time. And I said, what, like in like 2 weeks? And they said, try 2 days. And I said, prove it. And they said, come to Tel Aviv. And I said, no. And they said, look, we work next to a beach and it's like 85 degrees. I said, okay, I'll be there. And this is what happened.
I'm James Veitch. I've been invited to Wix to learn about a new product they've got called Wix Code. I've little to no idea about what it is. A lot of people have tried to explain it to me over a series of meetings, but I will say this, apparently it's a game changer. To prove that, they've put together a team of people who are going to build an entire flight search engine from scratch in 48 hours. In fact, I have had a few ideas. My office, please, guys.
You don't have an office.
That room. I've had an epiphany. We are going to build the first travel website that focuses on the most important thing, the tray tables. We cannot spend any more time depriving people of their full 3 airplane meals a day. When people use our web app, they're not going to be booking the destination, they're not going to be booking the flights, they're going to be booking the meals. Questions? Let me break this down for you. You're in London. You want to get to Paris, and you're hungry, you want breakfast, so what do? You travel all the way to Tokyo, because on that flight, you're going to get breakfast. And then, we're going to send you all the way to Lima. And en route, you're going to have lunch. And then from there to your final destination, Paris. And on that flight, you guessed it, you're going to have dinner. Yes, you may be 22 hours late, but you are going to arrive happy and full. What do you think, guys?
Does he work here?
I'm not a coder. All I take care of is I just connect all the elements. I see that they work, and then I take it off. This goes to Nama. She takes care of the design. Okay, we've done a lot. We have Thomas doing the search. We have Shachar doing the results. So we all know what we're doing. Yeah, meeting's over, pizza time.
You said it was a sleepover. Marshmallows?
Sure. Yeah, all right.
Actually, I'm allergic.
All right, guys, how much sleep did you get?
Zero. We will boyfriend the logo once we decide on that.
How do you feel about Veitch Air?
What's a Veitch?
Tell me what you're working on.
Oh, hey, James. Yeah, so there's a bunch of models. The algorithm is really complicated. Like, this is the main algo file. It's a bunch of code and numbers and letters.
Shah, can we make it so that I don't have to keep on inputting that data every time?
We can use the database, but we also have an access to the browser API, so we can store it in the local storage.
I've little to no idea what is going on here. How long would this take if we didn't have Wix Code?
Oh, God.
I wanna know, what are your wages? 'Cause you have made dynamic pages. Ryan! Have you just fallen asleep again? Because I just think that I'm actually literally inventing a song for you here, so pay attention. It's been so long. Hello, sir, can I offer you a beverage? Boom, boom, boom. Other people are trying to sleep. It's a night flight, do you know what I mean? Ignore me, guys. Guys, time's up. Where are we with the site?
We're finished. We're done.
I finished my part.
Okay. What am I looking at? It's amazing. I'm going to search for London Heathrow, and we're going to go to Paris. What are you having? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's going to route me depending on the meals that I want. So I want 3 breakfasts. So it's now going to send me wherever it takes to get me 3 plain breakfasts. It's a 55-hour trip. London Heathrow is going to take me to SVR, that's Moscow, right?
Exactly.
Then it's got to take me somewhere where I can have breakfast, so it's going to take me from Russia to LAX, and then it's going to take me from LAX to Seattle, where I'm going to have breakfast on that
It's
flight.
the next day already.
My final breakfast is going to take me from Iceland to Paris. I'm going to arrive there 55 hours after I left. It's fundamentally stupid. Let's have a look at the blog. Carl Martinson, from New York to Tokyo in 25 breakfasts. Perfect. Now, I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say that this is a dynamic page. How long would it take to do the same thing, but with ships?
48 hours?
Start the clock.
I still can't believe I convinced them to do that. It's live, by the way, if you want a little trip. So please, we've got to have a short Q&A now. So please give a warm welcome and welcome him back to the stage, Avishai Abrahami. What do you think of JetBite?
Well, it looks great, right? It's working. And it's a search engine for flights, right?
No, search engine for meals. Actually, I was going to talk to you about this because I know there are quite a few. You told me quite a few investors are going to be here, so I'm actually looking for some seed funding, guys. If you could just introduce me.
I'll introduce you to
Brilliant.
some.
Look
to
forward
some
to that,
later
guys.
on.
Yeah, I'll corner you in the bathroom. Right. Look, I want to just suppose we're going to open it up for a few questions in a moment, right? But I suppose I just want to grab the first question because it strikes me, I used to do a little bit of web design, right? And I used to do that. I kind of made a business on it. And the only way I was able to do that was because I was able to use some of the platforms that are available. The tools had become available to people like me. And then it strikes me, so that was one market I think you opened, and then you opened another market because the tools to make build a business upon using the website, you made those available. And it strikes me that now there's yet another kind of market opening up, which is actually creating a business that uses the web app. So I'm just interested in knowing how big you see Wix Code getting.
Well, it's a fundamental shift, right, in how people build web applications. Instead of something that would take 6 months, like JetBite, right, to build, you can actually do it now in 2 days. Right? It's dramatic change, right? If you're an entrepreneur and you want to build a startup, you can actually get it out there in a couple of days, test it, and then go to VCs, which is so much better, right? You can prove your business case with your website before you actually went to the VCs. It enables you to change things quickly. It really removes all the barriers and create a huge amount of opportunities. My guess is that the change is so big that by 2019, more web application will be built with Wix Code than anything else out there. It's that huge of a change.
Fantastic. Well, we have time for a few questions before we get cracking. So do we have anyone have any questions? Can we, a couple of people here. Can we pass a mic to someone? Can you just say your name, where you're from, and then probably, if we're honest, direct the question to Avishai?
Sure. Sterling Audi from JP Morgan here in New York. So Avishai, looking at this, one thing that brings to mind is how would this compete if I'm a small business and maybe I was thinking about building an app maybe in AWS from Amazon or in Google Cloud?
Well, so this is very, very different. In fact, it is built on top of AWS. Right? AWS makes it that you don't have to think about a physical server. Right? You know that it's there. It's very easy to get more and more servers. But you still have to know HTML. You still have to know CSS. You still have to know JavaScript. You still have to know how to use a database. You still have to maintain one. Right? You still have to worry about CDNs and DDoS protection, all of those things. Right? And so it's still, you need to do a lot of work. Right? And Wix Code pretty much takes all of that and makes it just go away. You can really focus on your code, and that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thanks, Jason Helfstein from Oppenheimer. Avishai, maybe just talk a bit about what kind of applications or uses do you see developers and designers building with this product. All this was an amusing video, clearly, so props. Talk to me more about the business applications of this.
Well, so I think that this really, I mean, it opens Wix to so many more things that you can do with it, right? And we saw one example, JetBite, which is pretty much a startup, right? And because you have everything that you need to do something completely new and take it out there. And so that's one case. Another case would be exactly right. The opposite, you just need something small on your website. And another completely new market is the ability to actually go internally into an organization and build things that you need inside of an organization. For example, like the college application process. So I think that it really creates a lot of new opportunities. I think that it's really hard to guess what they're going to be. I got to say, I'm a developer, right? And for me, this is super exciting. It's like something that, it's just amazing how it happens. And it's going to be incredible to see what people came up with.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Avishai. This is Deepak Mathuranan from Barclays. You explained about how the potential for developers is, but maybe if you think about, maybe if you can quantify it from in terms of time to build a website or potential efforts that maybe developers can save from this, that would be helpful. Is there any case studies or way to benchmark this?
The benchmark for?
The efforts that would be required to build maybe an application like JetBite instead of Wix Code.
So James' application was a full-blown search engine for flights because they have to find all the flights. And then it actually have to have another very sophisticated algorithm, which is kind of like go over the tree of all the flights and find when you can have breakfast, right? And then take all of that and present it, right? So basically, it's actually more complex than a lot of the search engines for flights. I mean, it's still very basic, and something like that would normally take years of development, right? And you can do it really with 2 developers in 2 days. And so I think that's incredible.
Got time for, I think, one more question, if you don't mind. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Hi, Avishai. Samana from Stevens. So Wix is well established with SMBs and individuals for making web design and launching their online businesses easier. How does Wix Code continue to help these SMBs and individuals in those efforts, and how does it expand the platform overall in your view?
Well, I think that if you think about Wix, right, so we have a lot of different users. We have 110 million. There's a variety of users that we have. And you have the Wix editor here in the middle. Right? On the one side, we have people using Wix ADI. So we simplify dramatically what you can do with Wix without pretty much knowing anything. And in 7 minutes, you can have a full-blown website. And on the other side, we have people that actually want to take it and do a lot more. Right? This product, right? A lot of our users have asked for it. And I think that this kind of like takes us to this side, right? Where you have people with more technical knowledge or desire to learn more about knowledge. But I think it also, again, add something completely new for us, right? Which is like real developers and all designers, right? That got stuck in their project and couldn't do something. And now they can actually go into Wix and build the parts that were missing, that before that they would have to hire developers. So I think it's really a massive change for what we can do as a company.
Well, I know that, I know you've probably got more questions, but we have actually got to get cracking because I know a lot of you are anxious to, well, see the product, get your hands on it, and start making startups, and probably also talking with me about investment opportunities. So I'd like to thank Avishai, and also, Avishai, do you have any final kind of thoughts for us?
Yeah, yes. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody for coming, and I appreciate it. I want to share one story that I thought about upstairs, which is completely off script, is that 11 or 12 years ago, Gig, my co-founder, and I were sitting on the beach, and we talked about Wix and how maybe it's a good idea for a startup. And the second that we realized that one day we'll be able to build Wix Code was the second that we said, oh, you know what? This is going to be amazing. So it's really exciting. And I want to say again, thank you, everybody, for coming here. I really appreciate it. Everybody for Wix that works really so hard to make it possible. James, for being so patient with me. And when I'm running again and again on the script and keep making terrible mistakes. And of course, beyond everything, I want to thank all of our users to make this possible, right? And to really support us and enable us to take our vision into reality. Thank you.